this demonstration we are going to understand how we are going to use Gradle build system. What exactly Gradle is? It is an application which connects to a repository and it will download library projects from the repository to your Android Studio. Okay. Using this library projects, you can use pre-written code in the libraries and you can easy your task, you can automate your task. Okay, I will give you an example for this, let's say. So let's get started with Gradle first. Let me just show you how Gradle works. So before going for a Gradle, we would like to create an application and then we are going to make you understand how Gradle works. Okay, so let's get started with creating an Android application. To create an Android application, we can simply go to start a new Android Studio project. You have to give name of your application. Let's say I would like to get started with my first application. Okay. And let's say this application is going to be my first app. Okay. This application name is used by users to identify your application. Okay. There are three entities as far as Android development is concerned or any application development is concerned. The first entity is the Google Play Store. Okay. So Google Play Store will identify your applications with a package name. Then there will be devices, the practical devices on which your applications will be installed. So your devices will also identify applications or unique applications using the package name. The second entity is a developer. Okay. Developer will define his package name or company domain name with the package or with the application and will integrate it. So developer will identify his projects with his company domain and the package name. Third is users. Users will identify your applications with your application name. Okay. So here we are going to give name of the application and that will be my first step. Then I would like to specify my company domain. The naming convention for this company domain is somewhat like this. Let me just write here. Naming convention. And the naming convention is somewhat like this. It's like developer name, then app name. You can do it somewhat like this. Or the second naming convention is company name dot developer name dot app name. So these are two naming conventions and the case of these packages should always be lower cases. Okay, package name should always be lowercase. Is that clear? So you can use either a developer name or an app name, and in case if you are in a big company and multiple developers may be working in that company, so you can use the second option as well, wherein you can provide your company domain with the company name, developer name and app name. Okay. So in the current application I would like to define something like hackveda.devanshu, because Hackveda is my company name and Devanshu is my developer name. And then in the package name you can see that automatically application name will be integrated with your company domain. So this becomes the package. This package name is the unique identifier of your Android application. Now what I would like to store my applications in a new directory. Okay. This directory I am going to give you so that you will be able to understand what all projects we created during the training. So let's do that. We are going to create a new directory. And let's say I'm going to call this directory as Android training, let's say 1. Okay. I've created a directory known as Android training 1 within my C drive. Okay. So I'm going to create my projects within this directory. Within C drive, I'm going to access my directory Android training _1. And within this, I'm going to create all my projects. Okay. We can simply go next. And now we have to decide the form factor on which my application will run. So if I want to create an application for phone and tablet, I have to use this option. If I want VIA support, I can use it. If I want TV support, I can use it. If I want Android Auto support, I can use this option. If I want Google Glass support, I can use this option. But at the moment, what we are doing, we are designing applications for mobile phone and tablet devices. So we are going to use this option. The very first option which you have to specify for phone and tablet development is the minimum SDK on which your application will be supported. Okay. Before selecting the SDK, I would like to take you to the developer.android.com website, wherein I would like to display you the pie chart based statistics which displays available Android versions in the world and the number of approximate devices and the percentage users which are available for Android all over the world. So to browse, we'll go to the website here. I'm going to open the website developer.android.com. On the website developer.android.com, we have to go to dashboards. To go to dashboards, we are going to click on this menu section. Or at the very bottom, we have About Android. On the first page, at the very bottom, we have About Android. And here on the About Android section, we have dashboards here. Okay, let's go to dashboards. And on the dashboards here, you can see that we have the platform version information available here. So now you can see that Google has stopped support for Froyo. Okay. So now the minimum version supported by Google is Gingerbread. A couple of days back, Froyo was supported. Okay. My device is a Froyo device. So now the minimum supportable version all over the world is Gingerbread, and the maximum supported version is Nougat. Okay. So you can see that we have four information here. We have version name, we have code name, we have API name, and we have the distribution. So minimum version is 2.3.3, which is known as Gingerbread. API number is 10, and there is 1% users in the world who are using this operating system. Okay. Now you can see that the maximum distribution is with Marshmallow, Lollipop, and KitKat. Generally, these are the device owners for which you need to develop your application. Okay. So in case, let's say if I want to create an application which should dedicate to all of these. So I should select the minimum version as KitKat. Okay. So if I set minimum SDK as KitKat, my application will be supported for KitKat and the above versions. Okay. And it won't support KitKat, it won't support Jelly Bean and the below versions. Okay. In case if I have set minimum SDK as KitKat. So this is the thing. If you are setting minimum SDK as Gingerbread, then your application will be supported on all the devices. Clear? Now, in case if you have selected minimum SDK as Nougat, then it won't be supported on any of the earlier versions. So this is your pie chart distribution, and this is updated on January 9, 2017. This statistics is updated every 7 days. Okay. Now, let's get back to our code here. So here now you can see that we have a list from Android 1.0 to the maximum version which is installed on my machine. Clear? So the maximum Android SDK installed at my machine at the moment is 6.0. If I update my SDK, I'll be able to download 7.1.1 as well, which is Nougat. Clear? Now, so let's say for the moment I would like to design my application from the Gingerbread version. Let's say we are going to specify name of the minimum SDK as Gingerbread, and now my application will be supported from Gingerbread to Nougat. Okay. Now let's go here. So I've just selected Gingerbread. Now what I would like to go next. Once we go next, did I selected Google Glass as well? I hope by mistake I have selected Google Glass also. So he started installation of this. I would like to cancel it at the moment. So here you will be available with multiple options in order to create an activity. What exactly an activity is? An activity can be considered as a page in Android application. Let's say you have a sample Android application. So an Android activity is a page in Android mobile device. Okay. Let's say in an Android application you have two pages. One is a login page and second page is a home page. Okay. So we will say we have around two activities in this Android application. Okay. Let's say we have an Android application which has 10 different pages. Okay. Every individual page is considered as an activity, and we'll say we have around 10 activities in our Android application. Okay. Now, so how we can get started with an Android project? There are some predefined templates which we can use and get started with an Android app. Okay. The basic version which is used is for beginners, empty activity is considered fine. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll get started with empty activity first because we like to build everything from the scratch, and then we'll proceed with blank or full screen activities as well, or Google AdMobs ad activity, master detail activity, navigation drawer activity, login activity, or maps activity. So we can proceed further and we can use these options as well. Okay. Now, so let's say for the basics, we like to get started with empty activity. Clear? Let's click on next. So now we have taken an activity. As far as an activity is concerned, there are two things. The first is the front end, second is the back end. Front end means the user interface. So that can be defined in a layout file. This layout file is an XML file, extensible markup language file. This XML file is named as activity underscore main at the moment here. Okay. And we have a background file which is Java file, wherein you will be writing Java code for that activity, and that will be defined within a file known as main activity.java. So as far as your activity is concerned, we have two things, front end and the back end. Front end is your layout file, back end is your activity Java file. Okay. Now, so let's say we are going to get started with this application and we are going to create an empty activity at the moment. Let's go and click finish. So once we finish, now our project will be created and we'll land up to a new project wherein we are going to understand how a project is created, and we'll understand Gradle build system as well. Our project created, and now at the bottom you can see that some processes are running. As soon as the process completes, we will be able to see two files here. The first one will be the layout file and second one will be your Java file. So you will be designing user interfaces in your layout file, which is XML, and you will be writing your code in Java file, which is your main activity.java. Okay. At the very bottom you can see that there is a message displayed here, Gradle build running, and there is a progress bar here. So what does this Gradle do? This Gradle manages all the requirements of your Android project. Okay. In case you need a library, in case you need to specify version information. So all these things will be handled by this Gradle. So what all Gradle covers, I will just discuss in few minutes. So at the moment indexing is being done. We have got this project created, and now let me just quickly tell you, this is your layout file, activity main.xml, and you can see that at the bottom there are two views, the text view and the design view. If you click on the design view, you can see that your design will be rendered here, and you will have a complete graphical user interface in order to use controls, drop controls, and visualize how your application layout will look. So it's initializing, rendering library at the moment. By the time you can see that on the left hand side you have the Android section wherein your application files will be managed. Okay. You have to go to activity underscore main.xml and you have to scroll down, you'll be able to see that. Okay. So here in the Android section here, you can see that here, this is your project manager, package explorer. So what you can do is you can close your package explorer, hide your package explorer for some time using the undock option here. Okay. So let's say you can hide it. As soon as you click, that will be hidden. And in case if you want to open that again, you can simply click on the project section here, that will open. Okay. So let me just hide it for a moment in order to show you how things look like. Sometimes what happens is, during the development of the project, you can face rendering problems. In order to overcome rendering problems, here is a sync or a refresh button here. Okay, you can simply click on this refresh button and the rendering will be done again. Okay, so I've just clicked this refresh. Rendering will be done again. Okay, now you can see that it started rendering again. As soon as the rendering completes, you will be able to view your user interface here. Okay, like this. So on the left hand side, you have a palette wherein you can use individual layouts, you can use widgets. In widgets you can use text view controls, button controls, switches, progress bar. These are very common controls which will be used in your Android applications. Then you will be using text field controls. These are container controls which are very important as far as Android application development is concerned. Then you have date and time controls. You have expert controls which you can learn in expert Android applications development. Okay. The central screen will display you how your user interface will look. Okay. On the right hand side, we have a component tree which is very important. In case if you want to select an individual control on your device, you can browse through controls using component tree. Because somehow what happens is, let's say you can directly select the controls from UI as well, but there may be a possibility wherein you have multiple controls and one control is overlaid above other. So in that case, in case अगर overlaid controls हैं, okay, तो यहाँ पे overlay होंगे, but आप तो उसे click करके select नहीं कर पाएंगे. तो उस केस में हम component tree use करते हैं कि आप किसी भी control को select करके आप उसकी properties को manage कर सकते हैं. Okay, clear? Let's say if I give you an example.
What is component?
Component is any of this control is known as component. Okay, clear? Any of the controls which are available on the palette section, these are considered as components. Okay, so component actually could be a device. Then within that device there is a layout. This is also a component. Within that layout we have a control. This control can also be a component. So component can be anything. Okay, clear? Let's say now in case in my application, let's say if I have dragged the control here and if I've just dropped it here, let's say, okay, I've dropped one control, then I have dropped a switch control, let's say, okay, then I've dropped a radio control, radio button control here, then I have dropped a progress bar control here. So let's say I'm taking some controls from the left hand side and I'm dropping these controls on my UI. Okay, so you can see that we have multiple controls here. This one, switch, text view, other text view. And what you can do is you can individually select a control from the component tree. Okay, is that clear? Now, so what next we need to do, in case if you have a control here, and if you want to manage the properties of every individual control, you can manage that through properties window. Okay, clear? So how will we be using it? We'll explain you as soon as possible. Okay, so what we have is, let's say we have got an application wherein we have some controls available here and we have just dropped these controls and the controls can be accessed through component tree. and you have the properties here. Once you have designed the user interfaces, now you can write your dynamic Java based codes. And to do that, you have to go to your main activity.java. Okay, is that clear? So within this main activity, you will be writing your Android application codes based on Java. Is that clear? So this is the demonstration for creating an app in Android. Okay. Now I would like to take you to Gradle build system as well. So what we have is, within this Android project structure, or within this Android project, there are two sections. One is your app structure and second is your Gradle scripts. Okay. If we open the tree view of this Gradle scripts, you can see that we have Gradle information for our project, and if we single click on this or if you double click on it, that Gradle information will open on the right hand side. Okay. So if I just show you, there is a Gradle build for my project and it includes some basic things like it's a Gradle based project. Now if you want to consider or if you want to go through the Gradle management for your own app, which is this, so you can go to this build.gradle module app. Okay. If you double click on it, now you can see that this Gradle contains some information. This says that for your Android, we are using Android Compile SDK version as 23 and the build tool versions which we will be using is 23.0.2. So this is your Android 6.0 which is installed in my Android Studio. Then we have some default configurations like the application ID, which specifies something like your package name, minimum SDK version is 9, target SDK version is 23. Then you have a version code, you have a version name. These are some default configurations for your Android project. Okay. Then what next you have to do, you have the build types. For build types, you can see that we have a release version. Okay. You have some ProGuard files available for this project. And here at the bottom, you can see that you have some dependencies. Okay. Dependencies means there may be some libraries which are required for your project. Okay. And you can use those codes once the libraries are available within the dependencies section. Okay. Let's say I was talking about Picasso. So in case if you want to use any of the Picasso's algorithm or feature in your application, so you should have the Picasso library in your dependencies here. Okay. So using this build.gradle, we manage our Gradle part, the third party libraries which we want to integrate in our Android application. Let me just give you an example. Okay. So I'm talking about Picasso, let's say. So what am I going to do? I'm going to add a Picasso dependency in my Gradle build project. To do this, what we'll do, there is a website for this Gradle, and let's say name of the website is gradleplease.appspot.com, something like this. Okay. Let me just confirm the name of the website. We'll go to google.com, and on the website here, what we'll do, we'll go to Gradle Please. Okay. If you open Gradle Please here, you can go to the website gradleplease.appspot.com. Let's open the website. And here on the website, you can see that you can search for the libraries which are required. Let's say if I want to search for Picasso library, I have searched for Picasso. Okay. As soon as I have searched for Picasso, you can see that I'm getting a dependency that I can get Picasso libraries from this com.squareup.picasso. Okay. And the version will be 2.5.2. So I will simply copy this. Okay. I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to paste that within my dependencies here. Okay. So let's say if I just paste it here, right click, paste. So your Picasso has been added from there. And now you can see that as soon as you have added, you are getting a yellow warning here. You have to synchronize now. So as soon as you synchronize now, At the bottom you can see that some two processes are running and Gradle is running, and he is trying to resolve the dependencies from the class path provided. Okay, so we are connecting to the Gradle repository and using the class path com.squareup.picasso, we are downloading it, and once the library gets downloaded, they will be integrated in your project. Okay, hence here we use Gradle. Okay, this is the overview of Gradle. So as soon as Gradle will complete, he will download all the required libraries and will install the libraries in your project, and now you will be able to use Picasso classes in your project.
Where can I see all the libraries of my project?
I will tell you. Okay, so once the Gradle has just integrated this here, now what you can do is, let's say you can go to the project structure here, and here there is another section known as project. In the project section here, you have the external libraries which you want to use, and here you can see that Picasso 2.5.2 has been added to your project. This is the external library which we have just downloaded from dependencies section, okay, using Gradle. And if you want to see the internal libraries, you can go here, and this is your complete app structure. Okay, clear? So this is your API platform. जो API आप यूज़ कर रहे हैं वो ये है 2.3, जिसके अंदर जो libraries आप यूज़ कर रहे हैं जो Android provide करता है उसका list यहाँ मिल जाएगा android.jar के अंदर. And within this Android jar you can see that you have all these libraries for Android, for Assets, for Dalvik, for Java, JUnit, and for others. Okay, and in case here then you have your accessibility service, accounts, animations. All these packages are here which you can use to write codes. Okay, and if you want to see the third party library, you can see that the third party library is here, that is Picasso, which we have just used from Gradle. So if you open this library Picasso, this is the package name com.squareup, and within this we have some classes like action, you have cache, callback, contact, photo request handler, memory policies, network policies, and there are many classes: request, target action, stats, snapshot. Many classes are there which you can use in your project. So these classes are not included in API 23. These are external libraries which we have downloaded and which we have integrated using the Gradle build system. Okay, so now you are clear?
These are external libraries. Where are the internal libraries? External libraries.
This is your internal library. That's SDK.
External library.
This is an API 23. That's your SDK. Yeah. So there is nothing like internal library here. There is one section external libraries which you are using, and the library is, this is your platform, that's internal actually, and then there are others. Yes. So all the libraries will be handled in this section. The name of the section is external libraries. So you have two things. One you have a project, and second you have the libraries. Okay.
And what is in the project?
Within project you have the Gradle information, the app information, the properties, all these things are included here. So important for you is this app structure. Okay. So within this app you will have your Java codes which will be available in the source. Okay, and your build, your resources, and all these things are important for you. Okay, so this app is actually important.
The source code the same as we write in main activity.java. The same will come here. In the
Yes, in the SRC.
In the SRC, the same code. Will
Yes, in your main, within your, this is your Java, within your Java you have this main activity, and within the resource you will have your layout, that is your activity underscore main. Clear? Okay, and then what you have is, then you have your Android manifest.xml. So this file is also important. Clear? So I hope you understood what is the Gradle build system. The Gradle build system is a library management system using which you can download libraries from the repository, and you can integrate those libraries with your Android project. And these libraries will be available in the external libraries section. Clear? So now let's just switch back to the Android project again, and within this Android project we'll go to the app structure, and within this app structure we are going to understand what manifests, Java and resources. Okay, so at the moment I would like to conclude this video and I would like to go to the next section, that is our project structure.